When it comes to debt collections in Italy, it's important to know that the process is a bit different than what you may be used to. The good news is that the Italian system is designed to be as fair and as efficient as possible for all parties involved. When it comes to the process of collecting a business debt in Italy, the words amiable and courteous don't quite come to mind. In fact, the whole process can be quite ruthless, with debt collectors going to great lengths to get their money back. The first step in any debt collection procedure is pre-assessment. This is when the debt collector performs an initial evaluation of the account to determine the best way to recover the debt. If the creditor decides that legal action is necessary, they will send a demand letter to the debtor. This letter is essentially a warning that legal proceedings will be initiated if the money isn't paid within a certain time frame. If the debtor still doesn't pay after receiving the demand letter, the creditor can start judicial proceedings. This is where things get messy and expensive, as both sides battle it out in court over who gets their hands on the money. In general, debt collectors in Italy prefer to settle disputes out of court. However, this can be difficult if the debtor is not cooperative or if they are located abroad. Imagine this: you're the owner of a small business in Italy, and one day one of your customers decides to stop paying their bills. What do? You could spend months or even years trying to collect the debt yourself, or you could hand the job over to a professional debt collection agency. Using a local debt collection agency has several benefits. First, they know the Italian legal system inside out, so they can navigate their way through the court system quickly and efficiently. Second, they have connections to other businesses in Italy, which means they can help you recover the debt quickly and without too much hassle. And third, using a local debt collection agency is often much more cost-effective than trying to collect the debt yourself. Steps to legal debt collections in Italy. You hear about it all the time in the news of businesses going bankrupt, owing money to creditors, and eventually being forced into legal debt collections. But what does that process actually look like? Well, let's take a step-by-step look at how the legal debt collection procedure works in Italy. First of all, you need to determine whether or not the debtor is actually located in Italy. If they are, then you can start the legal debt collection process. This process has 7 steps. Send a formal demand letter to the debtor. Wait 30 days for a response. If there is no response, send a second letter. If there is still no response, you can start legal proceedings. The debtor has 20 days to respond to your legal action. If they don't respond, you can get a judgment from the court. Enforce the judgment against the debtor's assets. It's time to review the amicable debt collection procedure. That's right, you heard it here first. The best debt collect is a courteous one. Well, maybe not exactly, but here's what you need to know. The procedure begins with a preliminary assessment in which Italian debt recovery companies investigate the claim and determine its validity. If all looks good, they will send out a letter that requests payment within 15 days, although payment is not guaranteed. If that fails, they may offer mediation services, and if that doesn't work either, the case must be brought to court within 10 years. In the meantime, many debt collectors have the right to act in their client's name as well as their own. This means that they may be able to negotiate a payment plan with the debtor in an informal way, or represent the client in court. It's important to note that all these methods of debt collection must adhere to the Italian consumer credit law, which governs all transactions between traders and consumers. Under this law, debtors are protected against unfair treatment and certain rights are extended to them. These may include fees that cannot be charged, the right to information, and the right to dispute in court. In Italy, debt collection companies can often go beyond the typical methods of debt collection and contact debtors directly. This means they can contact employers and neighbors, searching for any way to get the debtor to pay up. In addition, debt collection firms can go as far as placing liens on property or garnishing wages, depending on the nature of the debt. Court system in Italy for commercial debts. Oh no. Did all the debt collection efforts go down the drain? Not all is lost. You can still try to get your money back by taking legal action against the debtor. The court system in Italy for commercial debt cases is relatively straightforward, so don't worry, you'll be able to navigate it without any issues. The first step is to figure out the court responsible for handling the commercial debt in question. It's essential to select the appropriate court since the laws and regulations governing the same differ from area to area. You should note that the court's jurisdiction is determined based on the jurisdiction of the debtor's place of residence or business. Once that's out of the way, the next step involves submitting a claim against the debtor and having them served with the right paperwork. This can be done in various ways, including through the courts or by simply having a collection agency do it for you. For instance, debt collection agencies in Italy can send out demand letters and serve the debtor personally, thus ensuring that a notification of the claim is received. The next step in the process involves arranging a court hearing. During the hearing, both the creditor and the debtor will present their respective cases before the court. This step is essential to determine the outcome of the case and decide on the best course of action. After the court hearing, the court will issue a decision, which might involve the court ordering the debtor to pay the debt. If the debtor fails to make the payment, then the creditor has the option to file for forced execution. This will involve the court authorizing the seizure of the debtor's property and assets and selling them off to recover the outstanding debt. Once that's done, the creditor will be able to receive the full value of the debt. The process of judicial collection involves filing a lawsuit before an Italian court against your debtor. This typically takes place when other amicable collection attempts have failed and the debtor has refused to pay their outstanding debt. In such a situation, you can then make a claim for your funds before an Italian court, who may then decide in favor of the claimant and order for payment of their debts. By working with our local Italian debt collection agency, you'll get access to the latest debt collection techniques. You'll be able to take advantage of the local court system, and you'll be helping to support the local economy. So if you're looking for help collecting a business debt in Italy, be sure to contact an experienced debt collection agency. They'll be able to guide you through the process, and they'll make sure that you get the best results possible.